Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this Wednesday night. I am really excited about this class that we're going to go through tonight. This is all about resources. So this is one thing that a lot of people ask when they start with Young Living is, how do I learn more? How do I learn what to use? How do I learn what to use first? How do I figure out what I want to buy next? Just different ways that you can start on your early journey. So we are going to just kind of go over some different resources that are available. This by no means is anything that you have to buy, but I just want to give you kind of a idea of what's out there and some different things that you might be able to find that you might find really helpful. So we're going to go ahead and get started. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm Kelly Karstens, and Sherry Whitrock and I have teamed up for the summer to offer the series of Zoom classes. So don't forget that you can watch these online on my YouTube channel, and I will post it as soon as the class is over. So if anybody has missed it or you want to share it with a friend, that is a great place to go. So, all right, let's get my screen to go. Okay, so why do I need resource materials? So one of the main reason that you need resource materials is to empower yourself. So we want you to learn about these precious products, these precious things that Young Living has to offer, and learn how to use them. Learn how to use them to support your family's wellness. You learn how to use them to support your wellness, and just kind of know the good things and just the value of what you have and just the versatility of how you can use everything. It's just knowledge is power. So the other thing is everybody's body is different. Everybody's body is different, okay? So what one thing might support my body might be completely different than what supports your body, okay? So I want you to be able to learn about different examples that you can use for different things. And then what resource materials do I need? The best part is it's up to you. There's no one thing that you have to start with, and you can kind of build your library over time. There's definitely things that I would suggest maybe starting with first, and we'll go over a little bit of that. But the other great thing is you can do what you're comfortable with. And when I started, we just kind of started with a couple things and started learning about those, and then kind of really branched out into learning about different things and researching different things that might help our bodies or support the systems that we wanted to support. And then, we got those products and then just kind of moved on. So another common question that people ask is, why doesn't Young Living just give us this material? Okay, and that actually has to do about some of the laws with commercial speech. So Young Living actually profits off of the sale of their products. So because of the way that speech is and the laws, I'm not sure, I don't want to get too technical on you guys, but if they came out and said, now this particular thing is going to solve every one of your problems, and it didn't, or maybe it worked for one person and it didn't work for another person, that really is kind of enticing somebody to spend money on something that maybe doesn't have the claims to back it up. So, Young Living is able to tell us what products we can use topically, what we can use aromatically, and now with the vitality oils, what we can use internally. But beyond that, there's just a wealth of information that is out there, but Young Living isn't the one that we're able to get that information from, okay? So there's other resources out there, other companies out there that are not profiting from the sale of Young Living essential oils, and they are able to publish things that give us a little bit more information, okay? And that's the stuff that we're going to go over tonight. So, another thing is when we're at our classes and, I might be sharing with somebody who's interested in joining, these are materials that we wouldn't be discussing, okay? Because we don't want to use any disease claims. We don't want to use anything like that to entice somebody to join. We really want them to know that Young Living is to support the whole body, okay? We want to live a healthy lifestyle. We want to support our healthy body systems, okay, to stay above that wellness line, all right? So anything below the wellness line, when we start talking about disease or problems in the body, anything like that, that's nothing that we can discuss at a class where we might be talking with new members, okay? So some of this material that we're going to cover tonight deals with some of those things below the wellness line. All right, so it's really important. Right now where we're at, Young Living really wants to work within with the FDA and walk with integrity of, you know, what they've asked us to do and what they've asked that we can discuss and what we can't discuss, okay? So like I said, we wouldn't discuss those sort of things in a class, and we wouldn't have the resource materials that we're gonna have, we wouldn't have them sitting out next to the oils or next to the products or something like that, because that just, it really just looks like, you know, they go hand in hand, and we want that separation from, you know, what's living above the wellness line and what we can talk about as a Young Living distributor when we're talking to new people who might be interested. And then, you know, the resources that you can use in the comfort of your own home that we're not using to sell the products or to, you know, get somebody to join or to share Young Living's mission, something like that. Okay, so if you guys have questions about that, please talk to me about that. I've had an extensive conversation with my Diamond, who has talked to Conduct about that. And so I feel pretty comfortable with what we're going to talk about tonight. Okay, but that is why, you know, I can't say you have to go out and buy this particular resource, or you have to have this, or I'm going to give you this when you sign up, okay? So those things, we don't want to do that. That's not working with integrity that the FDA has asked us to do. So, you know, like I said, I'm going to give you some suggestions of a wide variety of things that you might use, and you can pick what, you know, is going to best serve you and what you want to invest in, okay? So the very first thing we're going to talk about is reference guides. Okay, so there are many different places that we can get these. I've listed a couple different places here on the slide: abundanthealthforyou.com and discoverlsp.com, as well as Amazon, myoilyhabit.com, and Barnes & Noble. Okay, one big plug for Amazon.com. I know a lot of people buy a lot of things from Amazon, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great, especially with Amazon Prime, where you can get free shipping and get it fast. But make sure you are enrolled in the Amazon Smile program, okay? We want to make sure that with the Amazon Smile program, you can pick your own charity of your choice, and a percentage of all your purchases go to that. So you just have to make sure you go to smile.amazon.com, okay? So that's my plug. Whatever charity you want to, make sure you are taking advantage of that. Okay, so the one on the left there, the reference guide for essential oils, this one is by Connie and Alan Higley. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so those of you guys that might be watching can see this a little bit better. Okay, so Connie and Alan Higley, they have this book. It looks like this. There's a couple different sizes of it. And then the other one over there on the right is the Essential Oil Desk Reference. Okay, so we tend to kind of use the term desk reference to be these big books, okay? So this particular one you can get in a hardbound, or you can get it in soft cover. So the soft cover is usually a little bit cheaper, but I really like the hardcover just because it's nice to, you know, write on and open up and kind of peruse through a little bit. Okay, so that's this one. And then, like I said, the purple one, move this a little bit so you can see, you can get that one at discoverlsp.com. You know, so you might go to Amazon and type in essential oil desk reference guide for essential oils, something like that. Check out My Oily Habit or wherever you normally buy your things. But one thing I do want to say is that there's lots of material out there just about essential oils in general. So when you're first starting, you really want to make sure that you're getting a resource that deals particularly with Young Living essential oils, okay? First of all, because of the labeling and the blend specifically. So we know we have the highest quality with Young Living. We know they have the Seed to Seal promise, and you know, they just go to meticulous efforts of making sure that we have the best of the best. So that's why some of the information deals specifically with Young Living essential oils, okay? So specifically like this book, Reference Guide for Essential Oils, it's just Young Living singles and Young Living blends, Young Living products, okay? So that way you know about the products that you have. All right, I'm never going to recommend any other products, so we want to make sure that you have the resources that go along with using the things that you have, okay, so that you're not getting misinformed or anything like that. All right, so there's, like I said, there's varying sizes of this, and we're going to kind of go over that a little bit later, but for right now, we are going to focus on this book, okay, because there is just a wealth of knowledge here in this book. All right, so I'm just picking this one in particular. This was the very first reference guide that I got, and you know, I'm just used to using this one. and perusing through it. So this is the one that I like best, so we're going to focus on this one. So there is just a wealth of knowledge. And in researching for this class or getting ready for this class, I have to admit that a lot of times I just use the body of the book. And I forgot that there's so much great information in the beginning and in the end. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit. So in the beginning, there's a little intro about the history of essential oils, how essential oils work, okay? A whole big portion of pages on the constituents and a lot of chemistry, a lot of really scientific information. I don't know if you're interested in that, but if you are, it's right here in this book, okay? So you can just read a little bit more if you want to get a little bit more scientific. There's a little bit of information about blending, the methods of application, so how you might actually use the oils or the products, the VitaFlex technique, which is really cool. It's a really good way to use massage. And it's kind of dealing along the lines of reflexology, so check that out. The raindrop, which is just an awesome way to incorporate the oils and products into massage. And I have raindrop on there twice. I like it so much. The body systems, okay? So if this is something for me, I'm a nurse. So a lot of the body systems, a lot of the way the body works, that makes a lot of sense to me. But for some people, it doesn't. And we talk a lot about which products support different body systems, whether that be the integumentary system, that's your skin, or, you know, like the cardiovascular system or the skeletal system, something like that. So that's one thing that kind of goes through the different systems and how they work. So it's really good information for you if that's not something you're familiar with. Another thing is emotional release. So it talks a lot about how we can use the oils to help us with our emotions, process through some of those things. And anyway, so that's really great information, as well as music and aromatherapy. So this class is going to be a little bit different than some of them. We're not actually going to mention any products by name. Okay, so when we have some of these reference materials and such, we're not talking about the products. We don't have them available. I don't have them in the screen. I don't have them in the room with me. You know, so really want to make a separation. So these are things you can do in the comfort of your own home, but they're not things that I'm presenting to you to try to have you buy more products or join Young Living. All right, this is really just an attempt to empower you to have the materials that you need to take control of your health and your wellness and your family's wellness. All right. Okay, I think we got that down. All right, so when we open this book up, there's a bunch of different tabs. So I think you can kind of see that along the side here. There's all sorts of different tabs going down the side. So the very first one is the science and application. So that's kind of the information that we went over to begin with. Okay, and then we are going to focus now on this very first section, which is single oils. All right, so all of these things listed on the page, and I am super guilty of this. When I was researching and kind of going through this for this class for you guys, gosh, I just realized that sometimes I look in here and I just look at what I can use it for. What's the best to use for this? And I don't even read through all the other stuff. And I was just floored with all the information that's in here. And I've had these books for years. So if this is information that you want, just want to make sure that you know it's available, all right? So in the singles portion, we're going to go through what chemical family is it? What botanical family? So what's the name of it? What kind of family is it? The genus and species, that kind of thing. If you want to go back to science class, I like science, so that's cool to me. But and the extraction method. So it tells us how the oil actually is getting out of the different constituents, okay? So whether that is steam distilled, whether it's cold pressed from the rind, kind of gives you that information. The common primary uses. Okay, so it might just tell you this is the common use for it. And then folklore. So it kind of tells us, you know, historically, kind of what some of the stories are. A lot of these things mention what was used in the French area, or what was used, you know, some Native Americans used a lot of plant-based things. So it kind of tells us about that. And then it also tells us some other possible uses, okay? So, you know, like I said, everybody's body is different. So there's a lot of different things you can use for a lot of different things. So And then it tells us about the body system affected. So again, if you want to go back, if it says, for example, this one says emotional balance and nervous system. If you don't know that much about the nervous system, you can go back to the beginning and you can read a little bit more about the nervous system. And some of that just might make sense. You might be like, oh yeah, that makes total sense once you start doing that. So aromatic influence is next. That's going to tell you a little bit about how the smell, how it interacts with our body and processes with our senses, and just smelling it, kind of how that can affect our body. And then application. So this is one of the most important things. The application can tell you how to use it, where to put it, how to use it. So that's great, especially as a newbie. That was something that I had no idea. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all these things. I don't know how to use them. So that was really just great to kind of help you decide how to use it, where to put it. And it might give you an array of things, and you just decide what's right for you. Next, it will tell us about oral use as a dietary supplement. So some of the oils are actually considered GRAS. You might actually see that listed some places, and that means generally regarded as safe. Okay, so those things have been approved by the FDA, generally regarded as safe. So not necessarily is the bottle of product that you have from Young Living approved by the FDA, because that's a supplement. They don't approve supplements or not, but the constituent, okay? So lavender, for example. Lavender in certain uses is considered generally regarded as safe by the FDA. Okay, so it's just telling you lavender. It's not necessarily this lavender because the FDA doesn't say, oh, this one, not that one. It's just kind of a general thing. But for those people who want to know a little bit more, maybe don't feel comfortable using things right at the beginning, that kind of is a little bit of comfort to know. Safety data. Okay, so it's going to tell you, maybe you need to avoid this during pregnancy. Maybe this is something to use caution if you have a certain condition, something like that. Maybe it's something that you need to avoid the sun for 12 hours, something like that. And then the blend classification, and this is some things that I don't really understand a lot because this stuff just works, so I don't have to research all of it. But it'll tell you the blend classification. So there's different types of oils, or the different types of notes, that kind of thing. So if you're really into trying to blend them and trying to do that sort of thing, it'll give you a little bit more information. And then also says what it blends with. Okay, so it might say, oh, it blends really good with this other thing, or something like that, to give you kind of some suggestions. What kind of odor it is, and this is kind of like, it makes me think of a wine tasting class. Like sometimes it has a top note and a middle note and a bottom note, and there's different tastes you can taste in wine. So it's kind of like that. There's a lot of different things involved in making a blend and mixing different things together, and what part of notes they are and what odor classification. And then frequency. So I really encourage you guys, study frequency. You don't have to go out and take a college course on it, but know that all living things have a frequency, okay? And that is one of the ways that the oils support our bodies, is to help support our frequency. So do a little bit of research on that. It's really, really cool. It seemed a little bit voodoo to me when I first started, but it's really cool, really cool. All right, so that is specifically for the singles, okay? So there's all that information. Did you know that? That's craziness. And like I said, I've been using this book for, this book is the 2013 edition, and I think it maybe came out in 2012, so I've been using it for 3 years, and I just forgot that all that stuff was there. Okay, the next section is about the blends, okay? One thing, so the blend is our next section here. So the blend, it actually tells us all the different constituents in the blend. Okay, so this particular one has 8 different oils in this blend. So it'll tell you all the different things that are in it. That's really cool. And then a little bit about each one. So, if you want to use a particular oil or you want to look at a particular blend, you can see all the different things that are in it. That's really neat. And then it also tells you a lot of things, just like the single did. If it's applicable, it's not going to tell us the chemical family because there's too many, but it'll tell us the body systems affected. So again, if you need more research on that, go back to the front of the book. The aromatic influence, the application, some safety data if there's anything applicable. the frequency. That is one thing that it has a special note about, that there's so many different things to balance out, and the frequency can vary a little bit depending on the season, depending on the harvest. So I can't remember exactly how it says it. Approximate frequency is indicated for many of the blends. Please keep in mind there are many variables involved in an oil's frequency, and that these numbers may be difficult to duplicate. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind if that's something that you're interested in or really following the frequency. And then, which I think is just awesome, for some of these things it actually has the scripture reference. So it'll tell you about, where, if there's anywhere in scripture that we might talk about either that oil or that feeling or that emotion. So that's just really cool. Super cool. Okay, so here you go. One really cool way I like to use the blend is maybe there's something that you want to use, but you're out of it. I'm not a master blender by any means, but, sometimes I have the individual constituents. And so I, kind of try and just make it myself to get by. So that's something that's kind of neat. I assume that the order that they're listed in is how much there's more of each thing, kind of, and gets slower as you go down. I don't know that for a fact, but I just kind of assume that. So I think that's probably a pretty safe assumption. Okay, so the other sections that are there, and this is something that is particular just to the big books. So we might call the big books the reference guides, the desk reference. So these big books, the reason that they're nice to have is that it has the personal care products. So this will have, kind of like all the different things you might use on your body that aren't necessarily oils, okay? So it has all of the information on those. It has the ingredients, the oils that are in them, instructions on how to use them, body systems that are affected. I'm covering up my PowerPoint here, so I just want to make sure I'm not missing something. Give me just a second. Okay, yeah. And then the personal guide, it also will tell you kind of how to use them. So one thing, when we get back in the back, on the very bottom, at the bottom, kind of in the very bottom here, it'll say A, T, or I. And on some of the things when you're looking at it, it'll have a little upper script with an A, T, or I. And the A is aromatic, the T is topical, and the I is internal. So that's how you're actually using them. So that's really great to be able to say, oh, I just see the A, or I see the T, and you can use it like that. So, okay, sorry, I'm skipping around on you. We're gonna go back to the products. It also tells you some complementary things. So it might say, oh, this might go good with this product, or if there's any body systems affected, any warnings, like maybe you don't want to get this in your eye, or something like that. So that's the personal care products. And then it has all the supplements, okay? So it'll have all the supplements. This is why we really want to make sure we have Young Living specific reference material, okay? Because that way you can research the supplements that Young Living has versus just, the random supplements you might buy somewhere else. We really want to make sure that you're getting the information, the constituents, the ingredients, the usages for things that Young Living provides, okay? So supplements are great. And then in the end, and this is what you'll probably use this book for mostly, this is where we can actually look up different particular things, and it might give us some just suggestions of what we can use. So for example, I'm just picking something right here. It says calluses. Okay, so if I have a callus and I want to see are there any products I can use to support my body in that way, I'm going to look up calluses. It actually tells me to go to skin. So I would do that. And so it might list a bunch of different things that I could use, different products. So it has, in the beginning, it has them in green. Those are the most likely that a lot of people use. And then kind of as the list goes on, it's things that other people used. And like I said, everybody's body is different, okay? So, you might not even have it. You might not have, for example, this one lists like it actually has a list of probably 20 different things, and the first one is in the starter kit. So you will probably could look and be like, oh, I don't have that. Gosh, there's nothing I can use. But probably for most things, there's going to be something that you have in the starter kit, or something that you have that you can use, okay? So don't be afraid to use not what's listed first, just try different things. When in doubt, use what you have, too. Okay, we don't have to go out and spend lots and lots of money on all these different things. You know, you might want to get something particular to support a particular thing that you have, stay above the wellness line. But for the most part, you know, they're really versatile and you can use a lot of different things. So it'll give you a lot of different examples. Okay, and then again, like I said, it'll show you the A, which is aromatic, T, topical, I for internal, if it's applicable. And then, so that's a personal guide. Okay, and then in the end, there's just another wealth of information. So there's a body systems chart. So this actually has all the different products and a little X, gosh, I don't know if you can see this, but little X's on which body system it supports. So you can kind of see that way too. It has some information about safety, if there's different particular things that you're interested in about safety. And then it kind of has, so the blends and what's all in it. And if there's any, just a little chart, if there's any safety data you want to know. And at the end, it has some information about taxonomy if you really want to know about a lot of botany. And then it also has the research references, okay? So it gives you the articles and the research materials that it got most of the information from. So if you wanted to cross-reference and look at some of that yourself, you could certainly do that. Okay, so that is the bulk of this big book that we call the desk reference. Okay, so this one isn't actually called a desk reference, but we kind of just use that term for the big books. All right, but there are other versions available, okay? And so, you know, depending on price or cost or what you want to use in your area, you might want to get some other things. So I want to go through a variety of different resources for you guys. So this is the next smaller version. So the Higley's book is called a quick reference guide for using essential oils. And I want to show you guys about how big this is. Okay, here's my iPhone 6. And this is about how big it is, okay? This is the quick reference guide, and this is considered a pocket reference. Okay, so this is from LSP. This is the Higley's version. Both have a lot of great information. So I really like this one. At first, this was, I actually bought a lot of these, and really a lot of people used a lot of them. They liked them. It's great because you can just have it handy, and it's not a big book to carry around. But the downside of this one, the upside is it's a lot cheaper, a lot smaller. The downside is this only has the back of what the big book has. So it only has the personal guide. So you can only look up specific things that you want to support, and it'll give you examples. You can't look up individual oils. You can't look up individual blends. It doesn't have any information about the personal care products or the supplements. Okay, so this is specifically just, well, it would have that information if you looked something up and, you know, that would support your body maybe that way. But you can't look up particular supplements or particular things and then it tells you how to use them, okay? So just another reference you can have. Again, these are cheaper, so might be something you want to start with, or you maybe want to have at a vacation home or something like that. And then the next kind of smaller thing, these are really great. These are really little, thin little things. This is, again, I'm going to show you about the size of my phone. Oh, somebody decided to text me. It's my mom. And anyway, this again, there's an LSP version and one from Higley's. And you can get it at Abundant Health and some other places too. I think you can get on Amazon. But these just have, this is like a quick reference guide. It doesn't have all of the things, but this has some, this one has some particular things you might want to use to support, so you can look up a particular issue you're having. And then it also has some of the singles. I don't think it has any information on blends. No, it looks like it's just singles. So just a little bit quick information. And this one's pretty much the same. Has a little bit of information at the beginning about history, that sort of thing. But one thing I want to show you guys that is really awesome is the app on your phone. So there's an app available. I happen to have the one that's called Reference Guide for Essential Oils. I don't know if that's going to show up very well. It's similar to the big book like I just showed you. On iPhone, you can look at this and you can just type in Reference Guide for Essential Oils in your App Store, I think it's called. And then on Android, I've had some people download this on Android, and I think it's Reference Guide for EO is what you type in to get it. So this is really great. Who doesn't have their phone with them all the time? Okay, so that's one great thing about it. It's pretty affordable, so I'd look into the price of that for yourself and see if that's something you can handle. And the other thing that's really cool for me is I have an iPhone and an iPad, and they are tied together on the same Apple account. So I was able to download it on both, and I only had to pay for it once. And my husband can have his own, okay? So since it's affordable, when we first started using some stuff, my husband would say, what should I use for this? Or what should I use for this? Or how can I use this? And I'm like, just look it up. So we finally got him his own app, and now he's able to look up stuff for himself, which is great. And on this particular app, it just has a little bit of information about application, and then it has a guide so you can look up particular issues that you're having or ways you want to support your body, as single oils, blends, and then a note section, okay? One thing that people do get hung up on is you don't want to use this store down here. That is not buying things from Young Living. You only want to buy things from your virtual office, okay? So you want to log into your virtual office. In fact, I'm not even really sure what this store is, but I've heard some people maybe went astray trying to buy things from there and didn't really understand at first. So all of these resources that we're talking about, they are from other companies, okay? They're not by Young Living. So we want to make sure that when it comes to buying your products, that you're buying them straight from your virtual office. Okay, so we went over the personal reference, the pocket reference, and the phone app. Just kind of different variations of some of the information that you can find. All right, so now we're going to get into some of the other information. So I'm going to make my screen small. Again, actually, maybe, you know what, I'll just move it over to the side when we're done. So these are some of the specific things. I'm not an expert on all of these things by any means, but some specific things that might be something that you're interested in. Okay, so the first one is Gentle Baby. This is an awesome book. You can get this from Growing Healthy Homes. You can also get it on Amazon. I think you can get it from Barnes & Noble. So this is all about women, particularly during pregnancy, during the conception time, and during the prenatal time, I guess would be the best way to say that. Babies and children. So it lists specific things. It's kind of like the reference guide, the big guide, but it's specifically for children, and it gives some dilution suggestions. So that is awesome, okay? Also just has some really good information on just healthy living for that time of life as well. Some diet suggestions and such like that. So it's kind of a small book, but just a wealth of knowledge in this Gentle Baby book. So that might be something you want to look into. The next one is called the ADR. Okay, so I'm a nurse, like I said. I'm familiar with, we use the PDR as a physician's desk reference. So this is the animal desk reference. Okay, it kind of looks actually the same as the physician's desk reference. But this is for essential oils for animals. Okay, so one particular thing about this book, it is great. It's by Melissa Shelton. She is a veterinarian. And after writing this book, she decided to do things with other oils from different companies, okay? So you want to make sure when you get something from her that it's this book, because we want to make sure, again, that you have things about Young Living oils and the products that you're using, those supplements, that kind of thing. So you're getting your best bang for your buck. So this is really great. It goes through a bunch of different types of animals and talks about how to give a raindrop for each different type of animal and just specific concerns that they might be having, how much you can use, and just particular things that might be, concerns for different types of animals. So, animal desk reference. I have heard that there is another, maybe Life Science Publishers just coming out with an animal reference guide. So, hopefully that'll be coming soon, okay? Because this book is a little bit older. I want to say it's from 2012, so there's some new products that maybe aren't mentioned in here. So hopefully we'll get an updated one soon. Oh, I forgot to mention this one. Sorry, guys. We're going to flip back for just a second. This is a really awesome book. If you ever have the opportunity to buy this book, I got it during a special printing. Don't ask my husband how much I spent for it. But anyway, this is Essential Oil Desk Reference. This one is actually written, I believe, prior to some of the current FDA standards, okay? So there's some other information in here that we're not able to say some of those things anymore, okay? So if you ever have the ability to get one of these, jump on it, okay? Or borrow it from somebody who does. So if you're in my team and we live locally, let me know. You're more than welcome to buy this. Borrow it. You don't have to buy it. You can borrow it. So there's two really good books that deal with emotions and how you can use essential oils to help release some emotions or just deal with some emotions that you're having. And one of them is Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. Looks like this. And the other one is Releasing Emotional Patterns in Essential Oils. Okay, so sometimes if you're dealing with a particular issue, you kind of look something up and gosh, it just doesn't make sense or it's not helping. Kind of look up the emotional cause for some of those things. It's really, really interesting. I haven't done a lot of research on this, but the more and more I learn just really intrigues my brain. So those are two really good things for emotions. The next one, Taming the Dragon Within. I got this last year at convention, and since then I've had a decent amount of ladies want to borrow it because it talks about how to balance women's hormones with essential oils. This is written by a chiropractor. So there's lots of really good information in here. And this one, it was like $9, so it wasn't super expensive. This is a book that my husband just loved, okay? It's called Healing Oils of the Bible. It's by Dr. David Stewart. It is awesome. Awesome. My husband read it, and after that, he decided he wanted to teach the Ancient Oils of Scripture class. So he does that, and it just talks about what was going on in the Bible in the different times and references and stuff like that. So this one is really cool. Really, really cool. And if you ever want to learn more, hopefully we'll be doing a class on this at some point in time as well. And getting a little bit light. Oh, Aroma of Worship is another one. There is actually a small group study that you can do. And there's another one, I think, called Sacred Essences that I just read about. I believe David Hart wrote that. But just kind of talking about biblical times and how to enhance your reading of scripture with essential oils, which is really cool. Okay, so the chemical-free home books. These are by Melissa Pepping. You can get these at chemicalfreehome.com, and there's 3 of them. And the first 2 have a lot of really, really great recipes on how to make your own hand soap, how to make your own linen spray, how to make your own carpet deodorizer, how to use some of your essential oils. And then it also talks about some of the dangers that are in modern products. So just some things that you might want to be aware of as you're on this journey to a healthier you and your family. So the first one, like I said, has some great recipes. Second one has a lot more recipes. So between these 2, you can pretty much make anything you need to. And then the third one came along, and this one is all about baby. Okay, so this one gives you a lot of information about how to make your own baby food, how to make some wipes, particular things. I've actually given this for a shower gift too for women that I know are oily, so they really liked it. So that is those. I'm going to move my screen over here. Hopefully you guys don't get a headache. Okay. And then this one I bought for my husband to read. We won't ask whether or not he's read it yet or not. But The Husband's Field Guide to Navigating Your Wife's Essential Oil Habit. All right. So as Ben would say, most of the time it's the wife that decides that she wants to join and start with the oils, and the guy is just kind of along for the ride. So this kind of talks a little bit about how to be supportive, how to go along, how to learn yourself. So anyway, that's a really good book. That is by Andrew Jenkins. And then I don't have this, but it just came out this year. I saw it at convention. Oily Kids Club coloring book. It kind of talks about oils for kids and some different things like that. And then if there's a coloring book, I think it was like $10, which I didn't think was bad. It was a pretty big book. Aroma Yoga is another book that's recently come out, I think. And it kind of talks about how to use essential oils in your practice of yoga, which is cool. Dr. David Stewart, the one who wrote Healing Oils of the Bible, also wrote Chemistry of Essential Oils Made Simple. Okay. Unfortunately, simple to him still doesn't equate to simple to everybody. So luckily, somebody came along and wrote this book, Chemistry of Essential Oils Made Even Simpler. Okay, so I kind of equate this as to the books for dummies that you might want to use. It even has really big writing, really big font, but it just kind of does a little bit more, I don't want to say dumbed down. That's kind of the thought in my head, but kind of more layman's terms, easy to understand, easy read, not going to give you a headache. So that's just a little bit simpler, this one. And then another book, excuse me, that I don't have, but I recently looked at, it was called Ultimate Balance, and that was about kind of how to balance your body and different hormones and sorts of things. I think I wrote something down about that. Let me see what I wrote about it. Ultimate Balance tells you which organs, what time of day different organs work, which is really cool. So that would be one to look into as well. So as you can see, there's just a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge that's out there, and you can pick, sorry about the headache again, it's just easier to have this over here. You can pick which things are going to be best for you in these specific resources. So just wanted to give you guys just a kind of a blush of all the things that are out there. If you have specific questions about any of these resources, please just send me an email or any type of message. I know Sherry would welcome that as well. We would both love to help you along the way. And one more thing I want to talk about tonight before we close is just another tool that's out there. And this is the SiteO Compass. And I know Sherry had one of these, so some of you guys might have used one. I actually borrowed one from our Diamond Britta for some time and was able to scan a lot of people. And then the new thing, as you can see over there on the right, is the iTobi scanner. So it's just kind of like that. I have one of these, and Sherry does as well. So both of these things, they're not meant to diagnose anything, okay? They're just tools that we can use to help give us an example of where we might want to start. So for the iTobi and the SiteO both, they're actually just a hand scanner. So the SiteO, you just rest your hand on the cradle. And the iTobi, you can actually hold like this. You can put it on your arm. You can put it on your chest, anything you might need. So this makes it really good to use for a child. I've even actually scanned my dog with it. So it just comes back with a list of different products that might be helpful to bring your body back in balance. It uses bioimpedance, which is kind of like the fitness tracker, kind of sends electrical impulses to your body, see how it responds, and it can kind of give you an example of what you might want to start with. So that's just really interesting. And then you might go get those reference materials that you have and research that particular thing and kind of think, oh yeah, that just really makes sense. Sometimes they just don't make sense because there's things going on with our body that we don't feel, and that's great that our body is designed to stay in balance. So it just kind of gives you, like I said, just kind of a starting off point of some things maybe to use, okay? So if you are on my team, and if you're local, let me know. I would love to scan you. And if you're not local, let me know, and we'll find somebody who can, okay, if this is something that you're interested in. So, and I'm sure Sherry would love to do the same. All right, so the very last thing here, this is just some selection of websites I actually posted on one of the Facebook groups yesterday and got some information. I don't do a lot of DIY. I tend to just buy the product if it's already there available for me, but I know a lot of people do. Sherry does a lot of make and takes, a lot of classes like that, and I think those are awesome. And a lot of people just like to make their own things. So this is some resources that you can have. Abundant Health for You. And they, in addition to books and sorts of things, they sell bottles and containers and all sorts of different things like that. So just a couple resources. MyOilyHabit.com, they have a lot of different things that you can get, and you can get them all in one. KRE Publishing, Crown Diamond Tools, and YLGear.com. Okay, so just kind of a blush. There's lots of places you could probably get things out there, but these are some of the ones that I've used or some of the ones that are highly recommended. All right, so that is all we have tonight. Hope I didn't bore you too much. And like I said, I just want you to know that there's lots of information out there and want you to empower yourself. And I want you to know the value of the products that you have and how to use them and get them working, okay? We don't want to buy these things to sit on the shelf. We want them to be used. We want them to be out there supporting everybody's wellness, because that's our goal, to get everybody above the wellness line and stay there. Okay, so, you know, it's just great. I think I just wanted to pass along some of this information to you guys. And if you ever want to borrow something, just let me know, all right? Have a good night, everybody. Bye.